This video will go over the basics of CDHPs so that everyone has a working knowledge of the new CDHP plans that were negotiated in the TA. What is it? CDHP stands for Consumer Directed Health Plan. It differs from a more traditional health plan by allowing a participant to more efficiently use their health care benefit tailored to their circumstances. This is accomplished through the use of health accounts that are associated with the CDHPs. How does it work? To explain the inner workings of a CDHP, we will work our way through the new purple CDHP. Before we get started, it is important to note three things. First, the law requires that preventive care be covered at 100%. So if the procedure or medication you need is considered preventive, it will not go through the process we are about to outline. It will be covered at 100%. Second, Anthem will still be the administrator of the buy-up and the CDHPs. This means that there will be no changes to the current network of providers and facilities. Third, you will continue to receive the Anthem discounted rates, not retail, on services, procedures, prescriptions, etc. A CDHP has a deductible. Which means that the very first dollar of cost associated with your health care is borne by you, the participant. Instead of a copay, you pay the entire discounted cost associated with office visits, prescriptions, labs, etc. until you satisfy the deductible. If you go to an in-network provider or facility, you still receive the in-network negotiated prices. Once your costs exceed the deductible, you enter the realm of coinsurance. Coinsurance is the sharing of a cost between you and the company. After satisfying your deductible, any in-network costs for covered health care, like office visits, prescriptions, labs, etc., will be split with the company. Every dollar of cost above your deductible is split like this until the total amount you have spent, including your deductible, reaches what is called a max out-of-pocket limit. Max out-of-pocket is the maximum that you, the participant, can spend on all covered healthcare expenses in one calendar year. Once you reach this limit, 100% of all covered healthcare expenses are paid by the company for the rest of that calendar year. Our CDHP plans are accompanied by a health savings account and a health reimbursement arrangement. These HSA or HRA accounts are used to help pay for those first dollar expenses of the deductible under a CDHP. The company will contribute to these accounts an amount dependent on your plan and tier. We also have a wellness plan. Where the company will put additional money into your HSA or HRA for completing certain tasks or medical tests. So let's see how all this works together by looking at the purple CDHP. First, let's start with pilot-only coverage. The deductible is $2,500. Remember, this is the amount you must pay first. The coinsurance would then start after you spend that first $2,500. The purple plan coinsurance is 90%. So for every dollar after that first $2,500, the company pays 90 cents and you pay 10 cents. This goes on until your $2,500 deductible plus your 10 cents for every dollar over that first $2,500 deductible reaches the maximum out-of-pocket limit, which for the purple CDHP is $4,250. Any medical costs after you reach the max out-of-pocket limit are paid 100% by the plan. To help you address these costs, we negotiated a $2,000 HSA or HRA company contribution and a wellness benefit of $300. So what is the worst case for pilot-only coverage? You get hit by the UPS truck and you're in the hospital for 30 days. The pilot would pay the first $2,500 to satisfy their deductible. Now that the deductible is satisfied, the coinsurance kicks in, with the pilot paying 10% of the bill until their $4,250 max out-of-pocket is met. Having already paid the $2,500 for their deductible, there is $1,750 remaining until the pilot's max out-of-pocket is reached. So if the pilot is paying 10%, this would require an additional $17,500 bill to get to the max out-of-pocket limit. You have your company $2,000 HSA, HRA, and another $300 from wellness for a total of $2,300. If you subtract this amount from the max out-of-pocket limit, you get your worst case of the pilot being out $1,950 that is not covered by any HSA or HRA money. You don't get hit by the UPS truck every year, so the idea is that you don't use all of your HSA or HRA money every year. Any remaining HSA or HRA money is rolled over to the next year. So after a few good years, you're self-insured. That $2,500 or whatever you have left over will eventually add up to be enough to cover your deductible and your out-of-pocket costs. While it is not allowed in the HRA due to IRS regulations, the pilot can also contribute pre-tax dollars to their HSA up to the IRS limits for that year. This can help you cover planned costs or more quickly get you to the point where your balance can cover that worst case scenario. Now that we know how individual claims work with the deductible and the max out-of-pocket limit, let's talk about how things work for an individual inside one of the pilot and spouse, pilot and children, and pilot and family tiers. These are known as the Pilot Plus tiers. If you have elected any one of the Pilot Plus tiers, any one participant in your covered group is only responsible for the individual embedded deductible and individual embedded max out-of-pocket limit. To demonstrate this for our example plan, we will take this to an extreme case for a pilot who has the pilot and family tier. Let's say that one person in your covered group had a bad accident that led to medical bills of $50,000. You look at your plan and you see a $5,000 deductible and an $8,500 max out-of-pocket limit. Wow, am I on the hook for that much? No. Remember, you get the HSA and HRA money of $4,000 for the family, and you get wellness, $300 for the pilot and $300 for the spouse for a total of $600. So for the worst case for the family as a whole, you add the $5,000 deductible and the $3,500 it takes to get to the max out-of-pocket for a total of $8,500. But you have $4,600 in your HSA, HRA from the company contributions and wellness. So that family's worst case is $3,900. Now let's look how that applies specifically for a two-person family. The math is similar for bigger families. Let's say person one has an accident. They have a $2,600 embedded deductible. The coinsurance is still 90%. The embedded max out of pocket, $4,250. The family still has that $4,000 plus $600 in their HSA or HRA. So if you use it all to pay for person one expenses, you are still $350 to the good. Now, if person two has an accident, his deductible is only $2,400, which is the $5,000 minus the $2,600 of person one, giving you $2,400. Coinsurance is still 90%. The max out-of-pocket is still that $4,250. If you add both of these together, you get the family max out-of-pocket of $8,500. You have $350 left over. So if you take the $2,400 plus the $1,850 difference to get you to your max out-of-pocket of $4,250 and subtract the $350 left over in your HSA, HRA, you get to the same $3,900 worst case. If you had more people in your family using this example, all their expenses after this would be covered at 100% because you have reached the family max out-of-pocket limit. So let's talk about a few examples of services. What would you pay for an office visit before you have met your deductible? Let's say the bill to Anthem was for $120. This doctor is in network, so they have agreed to Anthem's discounted pricing of $90. Because you have not yet satisfied your deductible for the year, you pay the full $90. Remember, you have company-contributed HSA, HRA money to cover this. What would that same office visit look like if you had already met the deductible for that calendar year? With the same $120 billed amount, discounted down to $90, you, the participant, would owe 10% of the $90, equaling $9. The company would pay the remaining 90%, or $81. What would that same office visit look like if you had already met the out-of-pocket max for that calendar year? With the same $120 billed amount, discounted down to $90, the company would pay 100% of the bill. You, the participant, owe nothing. The examples above work the same, whether your cost is an office visit, lab, surgery, prescription, etc. We know that these plans look complicated. We hope that this helps you understand how CDHPs work. If you have any further questions, please submit them via the TA Q&A link on the fdx.alpa.org website.